She asked me to prom. Homecoming or prom? Prom. Wasn't it prom? She made this awesome video for me, tweeted me.
Really?
I love it. Yes. Sarah? Awesome. Good to see you, sweetheart.
That's awesome. That is incredible, by the way. Wow.
If it's like I don't, it's like faces and names. If you leave an impression, then it sticks.
I'm legitimately blown away by that.
Oh well.
I mean, granted, we paid her a lot of money for that, to do that. We just gave her a huge check for that moment.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
we got. No, I'm kidding.
And thank you for the email that you slid me to. I'm just kidding. That didn't happen.
No, guys, that was a genuine moment. That was amazing. Incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
We're gonna get into how awesome a person you are. That's immediately
well,
apparent.
I'm pretty awesome. They say.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Jokes.
We're gonna get into dancing. Obviously, we're gonna talk. Yeah, I know. Isn't that is something, isn't it? Yeah.
Can I take that with me?
Yeah. No, this is yours. We put this in just for you.
Awesome.
Yeah. Right, guys?
Thank you.
There's like a million people saying no on the other side of the control booth right now. I think it's massive. All right.
Get Jordan Fisher off the stage.
We're gonna get into all that. We got plenty of time.
Awesome.
But first and foremost, how are you doing, man?
Man, I'm great. I'm happy to be here. AOL Build, come on. It's been about a year since I've been here, and Hamilton wasn't a thing yet for me, and you guys have grown immensely, and I'm grateful to say that things have been rocking in my world as well. I'm happy. I'm excited. You know,
good, man.
Taking a year to kind of restructure my sonic foundation where music is concerned, and putting out my next single October 6th, which I'm stoked for.
Mass is
everybody.
coming out the 6th, right? Yeah, man. Very excited about that.
Thank you, man.
You were just in Japan not too long
Yeah,
ago,
yeah,
right? I saw the
yeah.
video on your channel.
Yeah, dude.
That was pretty crazy.
My God, it
How
was.
did that come about?
So there's a music festival that happens there called Pop Spring, and they basically just have a handful of different, pop R&B, pop rock artists go over. And Japan's an interesting thing. You don't really know how well you're doing in that market until you actually get there, and then you're greeted by a bunch of fans that are at the airport, people that wait. It's the most gentle, kind, non-intrusive culture I have ever seen, ever witnessed. It is unbelievable. The people are so kind. They don't want to interrupt your day or your time or anything. They're not trying to do something and be your best friend and take all the pictures and ask all the things, which is it's great, but they want to be respectful, and it's insanely clean and it's safe, and the shows are so much fun. I want to go back immediately.
Cool. That's very cool. How do you how was navigating sort of and forgive my assumption, maybe you speak Japanese, but I'm assuming you don't. How was navigating the language barrier?
Onegaishimasu.
Oh, no way.
Hi.
Do you got enough to get around?
Enough to get around.
Enough to get around.
Yeah,
all
enough
right.
to get around.
All right, fair enough.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
That's impressive. I'm not good for. I mean, I can give you some Spanish, and it's usually
nice.
Like the El Gato Amarillo es en la biblioteca.
Okay.
It's a very specific scenario that I would have to. Yeah, it's never gonna come up naturally. I would have to orchestrate it.
Sure.
To use that. I haven't made that investment in time yet,
that.
but one day,
I love
right?
that.
You never know.
Yeah, very.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
would say jotsu in Japanese, which means good job.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, how would I say thank you?
Thank you would be arigatou gozaimasu.
What you said.
There we go.
That's perfect.
Thank you.
Arigatou gozaimasu?
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Gozaimasu.
Yeah, or you can say arigatou gozaimasu. You can kind of just and they understand exactly. It's like saying hey, thanks. You know what I mean? Arigatou gozaimasu.
I love that. I don't know if I told you guys in the intro, but the first 20 minutes of this are going to be Japanese lessons between me. That's
so sorry.
So get your notebooks out.
He said that was a thing I've studied.
That's what we're going to do.
Yeah. Oh, hello. She was at my GMA thing. Hello.
So I can't believe you remember all of your fans.
It's just if you make an impression, you
stick.
stick.
For sure.
It's just kind of how it should be.
With the myriad of things that you do, you're all over the place. You were just in Japan for God's sake. It's pretty amazing that you're able to do that. I think it does speak to your character in a big way, man.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So talk to me a little bit more, because I'm fascinated with this trip. I know it was a dream of yours to go there. It was your first time going there.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Talk about the difference, if there is a difference, in the vibe of a performance for an audience that's not on your home turf.
Okay,
right?
yeah. So there's definitely kind of there's an etiquette there that I'm very American. We don't have. You know what I mean? It's we had a show. We had a few shows. We had a show, but the show in Tokyo was the very first show. There was some bunch of technical issues that happened, and basically it's pretty everything that happens in Japan happens exactly when it's supposed to. If you are a minute late for a train, tough noogies, tough luck.
Yeah, it's the internet. You can say noogies.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm there. There's 12,000 people. They're chilling. We can't it's my turn in the festival, and there's something that can't be turned around as a snake issue, and it took like 25 minutes for them to figure it out. My band's chilling, we're waiting, my production team's waiting, I'm waiting, 12,000 people are all waiting. And typically you find, like, after 15 minutes, 20 minutes, when an act's supposed to start, you start hearing some boos and people start to leave or whatever. It is it's totally, so somebody walks on stage and they say, hey, in Japanese, hey, so sorry, we're having technical problems, we're excited to have Jordan come out, blah, 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 hopefully you guys are too. They all go, ah, and then they say, we're gonna work to make this happen as quickly as possible. Thank you for your time. And then they all applaud. Like, where we'd be like, yeah, all right. Sure, yeah. Your time's important too. Like, that's, we need that here. But it's a very different kind. And also, like, I'm playing a show. I try to use as much of the stage as possible, especially for a theater environment like that. If it's a stage straight across, and I'm 15, there's barricades that are 15 feet away. I like intimacy. I like being able to get up close. And if you can't, then it's fine. You kind of figure it out. I have a tendency to jump on amps. So I go to one side of the stage, and you go to one side of the stage, and they turn the warmers up for one side, and everybody just waves with both hands. That's it. That's all that's happening.
That's pretty
it's
amazing.
Awesome.
When people, here's a question. Here's a follow-up. If they're waving with both hands,
Yes.
did you notice a
Yes.
distinct difference
Yes.
in the number? Okay, you know exactly where I'm going.
Yes,
Right.
and I love it. I love it.
It's a more personal connection.
It is.
They're enjoying the moment.
What we're getting at are they don't really use their phones. They're there to be in the moment and do the thing. So there's one time in my set that I specifically asked for everybody to light it up, and at that point you see people like looking down to get in their purses and in their pockets and things to pull their phones out to turn their lights on. It's a totally different vibe, totally different. I think that there's intimacy in a live concert. I mean, there's something that cannot be replicated where a live concert is concerned, which is why people still pay $900 to go see Adele. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Hello from the parking lot, like that's it's a real thing. There's an intimacy and a vibe in a room when it's packed full of people that are all there to see the one thing and have that experience and to share that time and make those memories. And when you're looking through a phone screen, you don't feel the same thing. I do not pull my phone out for concerts unless it's the 1975 and I record myself acting like a fool when they're performing.
At that point, it's rude not to. You have to
absolutely. Yeah, that's pretty much the only time. But no, there's something that can't be replicated, and so it's cool for me to see people really appreciate that and enjoy that. And on the flip side, of course, like I have to argue this point as well. Social media is a powerful tool, and it is nice. People record elements of a show, and somebody sees it on Twitter, and they're like, "Yo, that looks like a great show. I'd love to go to that show."
Yeah, I think there's you can make a pro and con list.
Sure,
right?
absolutely.
But I totally understand that connecting to that different vibe. To that end of that whole experience, different things and different vibes. I want to talk about if there's any new vibes that you brought from that into your new music, right? We've got the new record coming.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've been working on that music for a while. This trip was pretty recent. But I'm wondering, the whole point of being an artist is interpreting all these experiences.
Absolutely.
And folding them into what you do.
Yeah.
And so is there anything that you're really excited about, maybe if it's even from this trip, but just in general, on this upcoming release that we're all waiting for?
Yeah.
What have you put in there? A little bit of 11 herbs and spices.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been in the kitchen. Come on, cooking metaphors. I feel you. I've been taking the time to really kind of go back to my roots and go back to the thing that I love about music and about R&B and about storytelling and a narrative. And I think that we're in a funny place right now in 2017 where it's kind of hard to trust most things. We tend to be pessimistic about pretty much everything, from politics to news to articles that we read to, movies that we see to TV shows that we watch. It's kind of hard to trust things, but one of the constants that has always been that we have been able to and explicitly trust is music. And that has just kind of always been the thing. And so for me, I've kind of noticed this over the course of the last year and taken time to really take a few steps back and take inventory and really gauge how stoked I would be to put a body of music out and call it my debut record. And I haven't been at that place yet when I thought that I was going to initially, and then I pushed it, and then thought I was going to initially, and then push it, and then thought I was going to again, and then push it. And I'm finally at a place. It's really exciting for me, and I know that I'm really just kind of showing you guys the doors of the game show, and I'm not opening one today. But it's exciting for me as an artist and as a human that loves music and loves writing and creating to say that I finally I'm building that thing that I can't wait to call my first album, my debut album, and Mess is kind of the prologue.
That's incredibly exciting, man. I gotta wonder, are you able to identify approximately the moment that you realized I'm ready to do this? Like, do you remember what it was? I don't think it's ever one defining thing, or maybe it was. I don't know, but, like, can you isolate that?
It's like 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Wow, so
yeah,
that's a yes.
yeah, it's been a while. Yes, yeah. You know, the one thing that I really preach on, if you have read any interviews or seen anything of mine that I put out where advice where you know the entertainment industry is concerned, is that it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And I find that the more time you take on things, especially things that are going to last for forever, you put your debut album out, you don't get another one.
only
That's
get one of
it.
those. Yeah,
that's it. You know, exactly. So take your sweet merry time and don't be bothered by people that are, you know, I'm so flattered. What's that? You guys seen? You guys seen that that video? As I guess it's kind of a meme that's been online. There's the guy that goes, "Where's the album? We want the album. Where is the album?" Have you guys seen that? Like, show of hands. Yeah, we've seen the thing. I've seen that a handful of times on Twitter. Yeah. And I'm like hella flattered by it. I love it. It's so sweet. But it's at the same time, I'm like, okay, cool. It's nice to know that there's anticipation and that people actually care. That's really cool to me. But I'm stoked for. I'm sorry. I'm sick because we're just a couple weeks away. I'm so excited for people to hear this first
Mess
song.
is October 6th. That's super close.
And I can officially say that it is the first single off of the full-length debut album.
Wow.
As well.
That's
which is
very
also,
exciting.
I haven't said that out loud to anybody.
That's the first time you've said that out loud.
Yeah, that's it. Like,
I'm very happy it was here.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Very exciting, man.
Absolutely.
Okay, I promise we're going to get to dancing, but we are in New York.
Yes.
I am legally obligated to talk to you about Hamilton.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to ask you one question.
I was just like going off about the tap water and how much I've missed the tap water here, but we can talk about Hamilton. Legally, yes.
Let's just, so here's the question I want to throw your way. You wrapped up a little while ago. You have this experience under your belt. It's
no, I still have to pay for tickets. I'm gonna throw out answers and see if it's.
So you can't hook me up. Okay, fine. Well, let's move on.
Yeah.
No. If you could go back in time to, I believe, your 5th grade self, and talk to little mini Jordan Fisher.
Yeah.
Right before he goes on stage for what was it, School of Rock Junior. If you could talk to that little dude with everything you've been through and having gone through that Broadway debut, what would you say to the little man?
Not a damn thing. Honestly. Yeah, truly. Honestly. I'm so happy. Yeah, it's funny. I feel like God has a certain way of working in your life, especially when you don't think that he is, you know, and that's just my belief. And I think that everything that happens in your life happens because it's supposed to. Not necessarily because everything happens for a reason or anything along those lines. It happens because it's supposed to happen to you. You know, we all have our own journeys and our stories and our narratives, and everything that's happened in mine has made me who I am, and it's given me the career that I've had, which is pretty dope. Like, I've been in it for 13 years. I'm 23 years old, and so to be able to like have the body of work that I've already had and know that I'm just making a dent, like I'm just scratching the surface, and I have all this, like, I'm gonna be old one day, y'all. I am. Like, look at that sweet little baby face. Like, I'm gonna I'm gonna and
Creeps up on all of us,
it does. I mean, like, it's unfortunate. Like, my hips are already ridiculous.
I can't even fathom where your hips are.
I just hosted a show at Madison Square. Like, I had to like do this thing when I was reading the script.
Isn't that the worst stuff? I remember the first time I had to do that.
Like,
we do that old man adjustment of your face.
Yeah, exactly. So the same time I'm like, I'm 23. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm 23. I'm 20. That shouldn't. Anyway, no. So I just the whole thing is that I want to have a body of work that I'm really stoked about, I'm really proud about, and everything that has led me to this point has happened because it's supposed to. And I want to just tell. The only thing I would really tell myself is the same thing that I heard from all of my family members and my mom and my dad. My mom is actually here. She's in the back right now. If you guys want to. Hey, Mom. I love you. Everything that you hear from people that are, you know, I'm not going to say older, more seasoned than you will all say, why do I talk with my hand up here? I'm so Italian sometimes. Is to really just live in every moment and soak up every moment and don't rush anything. That's really it.
I
That's all
think
would say.
that's the perfect response to a abstract, weird question. So good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Positing a world where time travel is possible. You handled it very well.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. You know, I've said it a million times. Actually, I'm super excited to get her out here. So we're going to talk Fish Upon a Star, but it wouldn't be right without the full team.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise, please, and do it upright. And let's welcome in the great Lindsay Arnold.
We were just together 10 minutes ago.
We don't do long distance.
No,
It's tough.
you spend so much time together on this show.
So much time.
It's
You spend like 2
crazy.
hours apart, and you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in ages.
Literally.
So you guys just saw each
Changed.
other backstage.
Last night, we went out there. We went and saw. If you guys haven't seen Play That Goes Wrong on Broadway,
It is
go
so
see it
good.
tonight. I saw the original cast about a month ago, and last night was the first time that the full American cast went on. So the original Broadway cast, they created that show together. That's the writing team. So they put it up together. It transferred over to Broadway. They did it together. They all left together. They're going back to London to put the next show up. That's what they do. They do all of these different shows that go wrong. And last night was the first time the American cast went up, and we went and died.
Laughed the
Oh my
entire time.
God.
It's so good.
Yeah. Anyway, we went out to eat afterwards with some friends and family, and then I didn't see her until 12 o'clock today, and I saw her and I was like,
I miss you. It's like our safety blanket. Like we're just
I
like,
guess
oh,
so.
okay,
Yeah,
we got
it's
each other.
Exciting to hear. I have a ton of questions. I'm made of questions, but the first one I have, Fish Upon a Star, is perfect name. How many other names did you guys cycle through before you arrived at Fish Upon a Star?
We had a 35-minute situation.
Very
30
long
minute-
live stream on Instagram where we were like, guys, please help us. We're having such a hard time because our names don't really mesh very well. We had Farnold, which I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. We did like Jorlin. We thought that was pretty good. Oh, you're so sweet.
Consummate gentleman here. Do you see the guys?
I mean, he's amazing.
Yeah.
And he knows I need my water, so he's like, let's
I'm
keep
done with
me.
my tea. Like, take the table.
Finish your answer, and then we're going to dissect that moment that you just had there. Go on.
It took us a minute, and then somebody said, one of your friends said Fish Upon a Star.
One of my friends said
Yes.
Fish Upon a Star.
And we're like, okay, we like that. Then Chrissy Metz.
Then Chrissy, if you guys
He's
have
like,
seen
no
this, is,
biggie. I'm like hyperventilating. Like, I love her. She comes on and she's like, that's amazing. You can sing it. And I was like, whatever Chrissy says we're doing. So, yep, that's it. I was just so stoked.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
That's kind of a cool story too, the Chrissy Metz thing. I'll just say real quick. If we all, This Is Us, like who all cries This Is Us? Everybody?
Me.
Yeah. She was my commercial agent for 4 years. And we developed a great friendship, and she was like, I still have this dream of being an actor. And she left agenting and went into American Horror Story and then got nominated for an Emmy, and is now Chrissy Metz. She came to see Hamilton, and people would come on stage afterwards, and she came up, and we had this moment. We were hugging and crying and talking about how great it was. Remember that time when I was 13 and in her office, and then somebody comes on stage and they look at me and they go, "Hey, do you mind if I have a picture?" And they see my old commercial agent and start freaking out, and they start crying. It's like it's the sweetest.
Move over.
And
Chrissy's here.
she's so good too.
That's a pretty incredible story. Thank you for sharing that. Now, as promised, I just want to commend you because you went through a whole. Anyone watches at home, cycle back and watch the footage. You investigated the opportunity of putting it between the two of you. That wasn't gonna work out. So then you weighed the pros and cons, and you were like, you know what? I'm done with my tea. And then you brought it over for her, and you set her up with a thing. It was very, very kind. I just wanted to recognize that.
Always. He's the sweetest.
Obviously, we're as an audience, I think I speak on behalf of everybody. We're already kind of obsessed with you guys, and this just keeps playing into that. What was your reaction when you first saw each other, when you first met? I mean, we kind of get a little bit of it from the show, but like, what did you genuinely? You opened the door, there it is. What did you guys think?
It was that.
It was that.
It was
that was literally the first time that we
Yeah.
realized that we were partners, and we were just like,
Yeah, like they caught me literally opening up the door and walking into the rehearsal and seeing her. She was like in the middle of an interview or something, and I was.
we both screamed.
an immediate spontaneous
I wanted
happiness.
her. I've been a fan of hers since So You Think.
And this is the first partner that walked in the room, and I went, I know exactly who that is, and I know that I'm going to love dancing with this guy.
That's what I was going to say. Lindsay, does that make your job easier, that sort of spontaneous, immediate connection, right? Like, does that now you have a game plan already in your head because you know exactly who your partner is?
Totally. Honestly, in my opinion, the most important thing on the show is the chemistry and relationship that you have with your partner, because we are going to go through a lot. And the fact that I have a gentleman who will move a stool for my water, I mean, come on. That means we're going to be able to get through the challenges together, because there will be challenges, and it's nice to know that we can rely on each other.
Absolutely.
How does that inform the choreography early on while you're still learning? Because you're familiar with him, but you still have to learn his strengths as a dancer, and you have to figure that out. How do you sort of approach that and get into
So
that?
I think that the Dancing with the Stars producers went, okay, cool, yeah, chemistry, great. Let's give them the hardest ballroom style that exists for the first
true.
week.
It's true.
Trial by fire.
We got a very tough dance week one. They were like, oh, let's give it a shot, see what we can do. And it was tough because it's a very unnatural way of moving. You're dancing in a frame and you're not leaving that position, and you're having to do all this footwork in between. It's a little bit awkward. So right off the bat, we dove right into it. And it was good for me, though, to see, okay, what are his strengths? Because he has a ton. What are his weaknesses? He also has those. So, but I'm here to cover those up. I'm here to cover those up. But like you said, I mean,
God.
I got your back.
Thank you.
But I mean, as a choreographer, I think the biggest thing is just learning how, first of all, he moves on his own, and then how we move together, because that's how we're going to create things that people will really enjoy watching, not go, oh, what is happening on that stage right now? So,
And Jordan, you being such a big fan, since the So You Think You Can Dance days and all that sort of stuff, does that give you an advantage knowing he's got some base knowledge? I'm not working from square one.
Well, that was the first time any of my partners had any idea who I was, and even just watched me in my career. So that was very special for me, and he was genuinely excited for me to be in there, and that made me feel very excited, and also made me realize that, like, he knows the stuff. He's been watching the show. He knows what it takes, and that's also very important, because a lot of people will sign up for the show and have no idea what's coming for them. Look at this face right here. But he knew what he was getting himself into. So I didn't have to, since then I haven't had to force him to want to rehearse or to want to get better. He does that all on his own.
It's really exciting. Well, you guys, you crushed that first dance. It was really awesome.
Thank you.
Let's talk strategy. Going into this, who do you think, competition-wise, have you sized people up? I think based on the numbers, it looks like Sterling and who she was with? I forget who she was with. Mark. Sterling and Mark. Tied neck and neck, right? But like, what are you guys thinking? What's going on your side? Or can you not reveal that?
I mean, can I just take it away for a second?
Yeah.
I feel like, to be fair, like, yes, it is a dance competition show, and everybody's looking to see who's gonna win the Mirrorball
For sure.
or Mirrorballs. Internet. I feel like there is a very skewed misrepresentation of what the competition, where the competition actually lies in the show. It is 13 contestants that have never danced ballroom a day in our life. Oftentimes, a lot of us that have no performance background or experience or movement background at all. Sometimes athletes, sometimes people that have dance background, sometimes figure skaters, sometimes Paula Deen. You know what I mean? So
a wide range.
The thing is that people really want to see. They want to see growth. They want to see the journey, and they want to see people get better and better. What happens, what you don't really see on the show, because what you're seeing is, couples going up and doing their pieces, and we spend a lot of time together. We grow as a family. The entire night, I was just beaming. Frankie Muniz was insanely nervous about the first. We all of us knew how we were just all trying to take care of Frankie and make sure he felt good. We're all in the red room backstage when he's doing his dance, and all of us are like grappling each other, and we're holding our breath, watching him, and he finishes the dance. Some of us are crying. We're all we all want to see everybody do well, and we're rooting for each other because none of us are professional ballroom dancers. So we all want to see each other do well and get better, and nobody wants to see anybody leave. But I think where the competition lies, to your point, to your question, is honestly with yourself. How hard are you willing to work? How badly do you want to get to the finish line? And how much do you want to grow? And for me and for us as partners, she deserves the win more than anybody else on the show.
Well, I was going to say, that is a beautiful, eloquent, amazing answer. That said, past couple of years, all signs are pointing to the ball for you right now, right? Like, what was it? It was third place 3 years ago. Oh no,
Fourth place, third place,
second
second
place. That's
place.
right. Yeah. So it's like, enough is enough.
It's time.
You've put in your time.
It's time.
Yeah, it's time.
It's time.
So
You guys are sweet. I mean, I'm obviously gunning for it. Like, that is what we would love. And like he said, the competition is with ourselves, not because there's not other incredible competitors, but because right now, after week 1, we had a good week. We had a great night. We ended at the top of the leaderboard with Mark and Lindsay. And that puts kind of the pressure on us to make sure that we don't go down from there.
We didn't get a 30.
No, we didn't. We were far from. We were only at 22. Like, there's 8 more points that we could have gotten.
We need those points.
Yeah. there's a lot of work to be done, and I think the biggest thing that we're going to try to focus on is to make sure that every week we're showing people something new. That it doesn't get boring. It's not like, oh yeah, it's same old, same old. Like, we want everybody to genuinely be impressed with us every single week.
having done the tango, the hardest and scariest dance, is that actually like an advantage to you guys? Because now you've done that, so it's like, all right, bring it on. We just did one of the hardest dances.
It is good to get some of those hard dances out of the way first. But at the same time, it can go either way, because doing those hard dances, it takes a risk of it possibly not being very good. Luckily, not even luckily, because we were very prepared and we worked so hard over the past couple weeks to nail that tango. But it's nice that we did do one of the hardest dances first, and it ended very well for us.
We were also a little spoiled with the first week because we got significantly more amount of time to prepare the first dance than we will for the rest of the season, as long as you guys keep us on and all of you at home.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so,
well,
yeah.
To that end, we're going to turn to them in just 1 second. I do have one final question that I'm very much curious about, especially with your your experience in the world of music and your work as an artist there, and then your experience in the world of dance and having done this for years. How do you guys figure out song decisions, and how do you divvy that up? And
That's a great question.
what do you defer to?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
So how the show works is it's typically based off of the theme. So this coming week we have a ballroom night, which means we're dancing to classic ballroom songs and ballroom styles. So that was kind of decided for us, and Latin night is Tuesday night. But then the week after, we actually have a guilty pleasures night where we are dancing to a song or a theme that is all about our partner's guilty pleasures. Obviously, I can't give it away yet, but it's fun because we were able to sit down and be like, okay, let's think about this together. Let's use our knowledge of, you tell me song, because he understands music, he knows music. Give me some songs that you think would work, and I use my dance ability to kind of be like, okay, that would be this dance style, or oh no, that wouldn't work to dance to at all. So we're kind of a team in deciding those sort of things together, but we've had so many awesome
We have,
ideas.
yeah, that's kind of the thing.
So many
We're
ideas.
both creative, and we both just want, like, being a fan of the show and knowing some of the weeks that have happened in the past, and just like hearing murmurs about some weeks that could be potentially be happening this season. You know, we both just are just like, oh, we could do this to that and this and that and that to that, but ultimately we have to
still
be
in
on
the
the show.
competition.
So
guys, that's all you. Please.
Can't stress the voting enough. 1-800-868-3406, right?
Let's see where you guys are at.
Great.
Let's turn it over to the audience. We have some microphones out there. First one's going to be, is this our first question right here? Perfect.
Hi, my name is Nasir. This is actually
Hi.
my friend in the blue hair's question.
Hi.
You know, he's just a little bit shy,
Hi,
so
friend in
I'm
the blue hair.
asking for him.
Hello.
From you coming from So You Think You Can Dance, and you coming from Liv and Maddie and Teen Beach Movie, what was it like going to the transition from, you know, national, like really, really important type of shows to going to like an international Dancing with the Stars? Like, what was the transition like for you?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, you know, there's, I definitely think that there is some kind of domestication where Liv and Maddie or something like Teen Beach is concerned, where the content is concerned. Obviously, it's a bunch of Americans, and we do this American thing, and have American innuendos and American references and content and whatnot. And dance, I mean, it's a very vast contrast for me, specifically just because dance is a universal language. I mean, if you go on YouTube and type in Blackpool, you're seeing the best dancers from all over the world that are all dancing the same style competitively with the same goal in mind. And I mean, there is a universal aspect to that, and I'm experiencing that for the first time. Also, I've never done reality TV, so that's very different. Yeah. That's my answer.
Reality TV is very different. And I did that, my first experience with that was So You Think You Can Dance. I mean, I did that show right out of high school. So that was really my first experience dancing professionally. And it was terrifying. I'm not going to lie. It took me a while to get comfortable and confident. And I think I didn't really feel comfortable and confident on camera until I started doing Dancing with the Stars. So that transition for me was kind of a big moment in my career where I went, okay, I can either be terrified every single week, or I can go, this is what I've trained my entire life to do. And it kind of took me that process of So You Think You Can Dance to understand that I should just own it and have fun with it. So that really, I really came into my own on Dancing with the Stars, and I'm glad that I had both of those things to experience it.
Awesome question.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Appreciate it. And thank you back there.
Yeah, thanks.
Next question's right here in the front row.
Hi.
So I have a question for you, Jordan, and
Okay.
for you, Lindsay.
Okay.
So, Jordan, what is your advice to future triple threats out there that want to follow in your footsteps? And Lindsay, what's your advice for future dancers or partners that you may be with on the show?
Oh, that's a really good question. Okay, so I mean, the first thing that I typically say is, just pace yourself. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to start really young, but oftentimes people aren't really starting until after high school. Sometimes after college. Sometimes I mean, people like Morgan Freeman or Steve Carell, who've become two of the most internationally incredible, respected, critically acclaimed actors that didn't start until really their 40s. And there's plenty of those. Plenty of those examples. Pace yourself, really. If you're a triple threat and you love all three things, the bottom line, regardless of who might tell you you can't do all three things and pursue a career in all three things, that's false. I'm living proof that you can. You might not sleep a lot, but you are doing the thing that you love to do ultimately. And I think that it's just a matter of never feeling like you have reached the pinnacle, never feeling like you have plateaued, always being a sponge, researching, expanding your palette, expanding your craft, trying new things, putting yourself outside of your comfort zone. It's just push yourself. If you are a triple threat, you've been given a gift that not everybody has, and that's talent in multiple aspects and multiple ranges. And I would say even expand upon that a little bit further. I'm going into like producing and developing now. I also love to write. I also love real estate. Like there's all of these things that I want to do with my life, and don't limit yourself to just those three things as well. Is that enough? Is that okay? Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna make a little toilet like handbook for it.
All of those things, because those are all things that I've definitely learned. A huge thing for me as a dancer is learning how to accept that sometimes things aren't going to go the way that you planned, and that's okay. And it's okay to sometimes not get the job or the opportunity that you necessarily wanted because something else might come your way that's even better than you thought it would be. And I think that was hard for me to understand. Another huge thing was don't change who you are to try to get a job. Don't ever try to be something else to book a job or to be somebody or to do something, because then you're going to lose. Oh, thank you. Thank you. No, it's so true, though. When I came out here, I was a pro my first season on Dancing with the Stars, and then after that, I got brought back down to troupe, and that was a very hard time for me, and I thought that it was because maybe I wasn't the right person for it, and maybe I wasn't acting the right way. So I definitely tried to become this thing to get that job that I wanted, and I realized I'm not happy doing this. If I even get the job, I'm not going to be happy because I'm not being me. And as soon as I stopped that mentality and just went true to who I was, that's when I actually got the promotion that I wanted. And ever since then, it's been the best thing. So just be who you are and don't change.
That's great.
Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. We have time for two more. Our next one's going to come from right over yonder.
Kai, look at those
Hi.
smiles.
Oh, we're really big fans.
Aw.
We had a question. It's so great seeing you two work together. What's the biggest quality that you both see in each other?
Aw, what are your names?
Anais, Colette.
It's very nice to meet you both. Favorite quality, best quality?
That's
What was-
hard. Man, there's a lot that I love. I think he's genuine.
Yeah, I mean, it was authenticity.
Oh, similar.
I mean, yeah,
It's very important. It's hard to find people that are just,
you.
yeah.
Yeah,
And you can tell.
she's so unapologetically her, and that's really the reason why we were like, oh, hey, we're best friends now.
Seriously, it happened that quickly.
It really did. Yeah, I mean, I love your authenticity.
Stop it.
I love
your genuine.
Oh,
Wait, is that the right word?
Guys, I'm gonna get out of here.
Genuinity.
I'm gonna get out of here. It looks like you guys are gonna be a while.
We need a moment. We have a monologue prepared, so.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just honestly, it's just kind of like piggybacking off of that. You're the best relationships tend to happen you know, in business and your personal life and a romantic, whatever the thing is, when you are just you, and you know, chemically, it's just there's a balance there. You know, probably the same way you guys are friends, right? Yeah, I can tell. You look like you like each other. You know, can I ask the same question to both of you? What's the thing that you like about each other?
I think you're just so loyal. You're always, you know, literally with yeah. I just always reliable, like with school and then with like in general. I'm just always.
I love it. Friendship is the
Very
best.
sweet.
It really is.
Wow, everything makes me cry. You said loyal, and I went. Oh man.
Guys, so when I started this out and I did the introduction, I called this the cherry on top of the sundae for our day. But this has been one of the best times that we've had.
You guys can
Best
sit
guests,
down. You
best
don't have to. You don't have to. It's
All
so
right,
sweet.
well, no
Thank
pressure,
you.
but we've got time for one more question. Where's
Great.
it coming from? Right over here.
Hey,
Hello,
nice
hi.
to meet you both.
What's your name?
I'm Jakara.
Nice to meet you.
Hey. So I'm extremely proud of you two, and it's been really great watching y'all. I'm just curious because since y'all have so many fans and you get to encounter people who are inspired by you, who are people that have influenced and inspired you? Like, who are you biggest fans of? Like, if you meet them, you're going to freak out just like some of these people have freaked out seeing you.
Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from Boston.
You're from Boston? Oh, and
Yeah.
you say y'all? I love that.
Oh.
Yeah, you did.
I sound more Southern, and I never ever been there.
I think it's just because you say y'all, but I feel like
Yeah.
that's becoming a thing everywhere.
Y'all.
Yeah, y'all. Yeah,
Spreading.
yeah,
Y'all.
yeah,
It's easy
love
to
it.
roll
Y'all.
off the tongue, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. I'm just, you know, I'm from Alabama, and so typically that was a thing where I was like, oh, you say y'all? Are you from the South? I don't know.
Sorry.
Thank you. That's a great question. I don't. You want to go first? You go first. Let me think.
So when it comes to getting starstruck, I tend to not get that way, mostly because I try to just remember that everybody is just like us. Everybody is just a person, and not because I don't respect and admire everything that they do, but because I know what it's like to be in that position, and I try to just give them all the respect that I can. But with that being said, I have never met Beyonce, and I don't know if my cool would last through that experience. So I say this now, but if she walked in the room, I'd probably pass out. So there's one that I don't know how I would react
We
for.
just talked about this.
We
Like,
did.
I was
We were like, okay,
yeah.
Beyonce, we can't do it.
I
Sorry.
mean, so a question that I'm gonna like ask myself a question and then answer it, and it's gonna be the same person. But like, Jordan, if you could be one person one time for one day, who would you be? My answer, honestly, as a straight man, would be Beyonce.
Yeah.
Everyone
I
should
just-
choose Beyonce.
That's
I
a
want to
fact.
know what it feels like to be her for one day. Just what getting out of bed. How does that happen for Beyonce? Like, does she? I don't. There's like walking into a room. Can you?
Definitely a fan.
Is there
that's
anybody
like-
anybody performers in here? Anybody? Okay, yes, I know you. Okay, can you imagine coming up on the hydraulics and hearing ba ba da ba ba da and it being your song? Like you're expected to the fans going and you know the choreography. Can you just imagine? Whoa, yeah.
I'm a little jealous.
I would. I mean, that would be crazy. She's an entity. She's just like a.
Transcends. Well, she's transcendent. That's
She
what she is.
yes,
There we go.
absolutely.
Yeah.
There's
Another thing.
there's two answers for me, honestly. It would probably be JT and Donald Glover. They are two guys that are doing it, in my opinion. I mean, like JT has been somebody that I've looked up to for forever, and even more so now as a dad. He's managed to figure out how to, that work-life balance myth that people talk about. He's managed to figure that out in a real way, and he's an incredible writer and actor and artist and philanthropist and business owner and leader and husband and father, and that's success to me. That's the thing that I want. He's really kind of been the model for that. And then where Donald is concerned, you kidding me? It's Childish Gambino.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about two artists that define and not compromising themselves or their
Right.
voice in the name of their work. I believe we have to wrap it up. However, I am going to ask one final question. I was inspired earlier by the identifying equality in one another, and what I'd love to know is something that you were surprised by one another, something that took you by surprise about your partner, and we're going to close on that. Yeah.
Oh, I have one. I'm a guy, and I fart, and I think that it's funny. And Lindsay is also very open about farting, and
You didn't think I was gonna go this direction, did you?
just like
It's amazing.
that honestly, like, I love you. You're genuine, and you're like, our friendship's great, and it's gonna get even better, and like it's great. You being open about farting accelerated our friendship at lightning speed, like
Well,
that.
I didn't really have a choice to be.
Yeah, really did. I was like, oh, you're so cool.
I didn't really have an option whether I wanted to be open about farting or not, because if you watch the show, you'll know that last season they played a clip of me accidentally farting in my partner's face. So when that happened, it became national news.
It's so good.
I had to be forced. I'm like, well, I guess it's out there. We're talking about it now.
it
So
is.
there you go,
Yeah.
guys. It happens. It does.
Well,
What was in that tea, dude?
So there you have it. Sorry. Great way to end.
tell you what, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. When can people, obviously, we don't know, but when can people see the show? How can they vote for you? What do you want to tell them before we wrap this up?
Monday
Monday
nights,
nights,
ABC.
ABC.
This coming week, it's on Monday and Tuesday.
And Tuesday.
So make sure you see that.
ABC 1-800-868-3406.
Nailed
Oh
it.
my God.
Oh my God, guys, a round of applause, please. Fish upon a star. Make some noise.